seen some big changes in YouTube. Ever since November 8th, the election, there's been a change. There's been a lot less videos about end-of-the-world scenarios, about the S hitting the fan, and I'm just not quite sure what's prompting it. I've seen a few videos here and there that are hopeful in nature, and being hopeful in that context is great, but let's not let our guard down. We still face tremendous pressures from Islamic terrorism, from the radical left movement that's trying to undermine the incoming president-elect at every turn. Doesn't matter. Whatever they can think of, they're going to try it. Just earlier this week with the Electoral College and the guys that were urged to change their vote and vote their conscience, turned out that kind of backfired on them because only 2 Trump delegates voted for somebody else, but 5 Clinton delegates voted for somebody else. So it really didn't quite work out for them. Their next movement is going to be to disrupt the incoming cabinet by trying to hold back on any kind of confirmations through through the Senate, through the Congress. I suspect that's going to be a long, drawn-out, hard-fought battle to get every single one of Trump's nominees into their places. We still face natural disasters. We face them every single day. Doesn't matter if it's a hurricane, if it's a snowstorm, if it's a volcano, earthquakes, you name it, we've still got that kind of a threat. Some of the videos that I've seen out there where a lot of the hardcore preppers are relaxing. They're saying, oh God, it's finally over. We don't have to worry about this stuff. Yeah, we still have to worry, and worry every day, and be prepared every day. You've still got to have all those necessities. You've got to have water, you've got to have food, you've got to have shelter. You've got to be able to make it through when the S hits the fan. So don't give up on prepping. Today is the first day of winter. Yes, the winter solstice is here. It struck me that this day is truly a day of hope. And by hope, here's kind of what I mean. Bottom line is, from this point forward until the summer solstice, our days will be getting longer. That's certainly a baseline for hope. We've got a new president. And contrary to what Michelle Obama just recently blurted out of her mouth, there is cause for hope. I believe that America will be safer, stronger, and more prosperous in 2017 than it ever has been. And that's a sign of hope. The winter solstice is untraceable in history. I'm sure that early man finally figured out that long about this time, the days get shorter, and then all of a sudden they start getting longer. And celebrations began forming in a lot of primitive cultures around the world. The ancient Romans celebrated something called Saturnalia. Now, Saturnalia was a banquet festival that began way before Christ, somewhere they estimate around 200 to 220 BCE, to honor Saturn, the father of all the gods. And they would give gifts, they would gamble, they would eat fruit, they would imbibe, they would engage in a week-long orgy of debauchery and crime. It's just kind of an amazing thing. The Norwegians celebrate the Feast of Jul, which is where we get the word Yule from. And during that, they would light fires and bring Yule logs to that fire and burn those Yule logs as kind of a sacrifice to their gods to bring back longer daylight hours. Ancient Iranians celebrated Yalda. Now, Yalda is a ceremony around the celebration of the arrival of winter or the lengthening of days. They would imbibe in fruit and watermelon and dried nuts, and they would read from their holy scriptures and have all kinds of fun in those areas. Central Asian countries like Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and a lot of those areas still celebrate Yalda Night annually this time of year. In South America, in Guatemala, they celebrate Santo Tomas, and that is the flying pole dance, I guess is the best way to do it. If you've ever seen it, 4 young men climb a 50-foot pole, they hang upside down, and they spin around. And if they land on their feet as that pole comes around, then they will have good luck throughout the next year. It truly is a time of hope. A lot of these celebrations, whether you're sacrificing animals, giving gifts, reveling in debauchery, imbibing, eating fruit, gambling, swinging on a 50-foot pole, or burning logs, it's all done to celebrate the wondrous occurrences of our seasonal changes. It truly is a time of hope, because we've got a lot to be hopeful for. We've got a lot to be hopeful for right here in our own house. As some of my loyal subscribers know, my son was recently diagnosed with cancer. He started his radiation and chemotherapy treatments just last week, and we got some really good news that there are certain constituencies in his genetic makeup that are hopefully going to increase his chances for remission and survival. So we're very, very hopeful and thank God every day that our prayers begin to be answered. This is the Prepared Suburbanite reminding you to be prepared always, and don't let this time of hope get away from you. Be hopeful always.